to expand, important questions are being raised about workers' rights, fair remuneration, social protection, workplace safety, algorithmic management, and access to justice. While technology has created flexibility and new opportunities, it has also highlighted the need for stronger protections and clearer standards for workers operating within its rapidly evolving sector. In response to these emerging realities, the International Labour Organization has adopted a landmark convention on decent work in the platform economy, establishing new global standards aimed at promoting fairness, dignity, and protection for millions of platform workers around the world. Today, we will be discussing ILO approves new global standards for platform workers. Now, the 114th session of the International Labour Conference has adopted a new convention on decent work in the platform economy, marking a significant milestone in global efforts to protect workers in rapidly expanding digital labour markets. The conference, organized by the International Labour Organization, has brought together delegates from the ILO's 187 member states in Geneva, Switzerland, to deliberate on critical issues affecting the future of work. The event, which commenced on June 1, focused on advancing labor standards, promoting gender equality, strengthening social dialogue, and reviewing the organization's program and budgetary matters. A major highlight of the conference was the successful adoption of a new convention aimed at ensuring decent work standards for workers engaged in the platform economy. The landmark agreement seeks to address concerns surrounding job security, fair remuneration, social protection, occupational safety, and workers' rights in digital labor platforms. The platform economy, driven by online and app-based services, has witnessed rapid growth worldwide, creating new employment opportunities while also raising concerns about labor protections and working conditions. The newly adopted convention is expected to provide a global framework for governments, employers, and workers to safeguard the rights and welfare of millions of platform workers. Delegates at the conference emphasized the need for modern labor standards that reflect the changing nature of work, particularly as technology continues to reshape employment relationships across sectors and regions. Joining us this morning is Comrade Jagesimi Aziz, popularly known as Machiavelli. Comrade Jagesimi Aziz is the Lagos State Chairman of the Amalgamated Union of App-Based Transporters of Nigeria, a leading organization representing the interests and welfare of app-based transport workers across the country. As a frontline advocate for platform workers, he has been actively involved in conversations around workers' rights, fair labor practices, industry regulation, and the future of digital transportation in Nigeria. Comrade Machiavelli, good morning and welcome to Trade FM's Breakfast Business Briefing.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm excited to be here. In fact, I am so happy and for the first time, the International Labour Organization has I will call it a bid of the app-based workers. And this is what Alton as a union have been fighting for. I'm excited.
Okay, so before we get into the questions and before we talk about the ILO's convention, what is platform economy for those who do not know what it is?
Yeah, thank you very much. Platform economy is is a digital economy, and platform economy is, in a layman's term, is people that earn through technology, people that earn through the use of technology that are not like the conventional, the working system. For example, the gig economy, the app-based transporters, the courier, the logistics, the e-learning. So that is the platform economy, and it's the future. It's the future of the world.
Okay. Now, how is adoption of a convention on decent work in the platform economy?
Thank you very much. Like I said, this is the first um, a major step, a major breakthrough for gig workers, for app-based, not only drivers, which is even where I'm going to concentrate a lot of things on. And like I said, it is the beginning of the app-based worker. And this is what we have been, you know, we have been praying and working tirelessly, even though we have not been heard. But now the ILO has seen the need to, you know, make this happen at the 114th convention. And it is essential for us because it is the right, and it is the right of all app-based workers, mostly the app-based transporters. They now have a right to earn a dignified wage. They have the right to have social security. They have the right to have insurance. Even apart from that, the federal government has come up with NHIA and has given directive that all the app-based pension, which is what this ILO convention has, have voted on. So, and we believe that this time around, even without agitation, without going to the street to protest, we believe the app company will comply. We believe they will comply, and definitely they have to comply.
Okay. So now, looking at all this, how will these standards affect workers using platforms such as Ride, hailing, for example, yourself, delivery and online freelance services?
Yeah, definitely give us opportunity to earn dignified wage and give us opportunity to have collective bargaining so that this time around we'll be sitting at the table to make policies, to make decisions that affect our business. And at the same time, it will secure the average drivers out there so that at least while they are working, they are protected. While they are working, they have security. And while they are working, even though when they get to a time that they can no longer, do the work, they have what we call pension, at least something to fall back on.
So, for a lot of us that don't know what freedom of association and collective bargaining is, I'm going to ask this. The convention emphasizes freedom of association and collective bargaining. Why are these important for platforms?
Thank you very much. Freedom of association means that according to the convention, one worker cannot fight alone. But when we come together, we can negotiate as a team, as a body. And at the same time, oftentimes, some of the app companies will always say there's a freedom of association, that it's not compulsory, that, we are our workers, because we are workers, even as a EAD practitioner, that they don't need to join the union. People have freedom of association. Yes, there's freedom of association, but for the fact that you work in this sector, you belong to the only ELN union in the whole of Africa, which is Auton, and at the same time, you will be able to come together and fight together.
Okay. So now, how can platform workers effectively organize and negotiate for better conditions?
Thank you very much. And Auton has been doing that, even though they are doing a lot of um, I would say, a lot of drawback, even from within. The main reason of having a union is to fight for the welfare of its member, to promote their interest, and to make sure that they are not exploited and they are not used. A lot of our members have been exploited by, this company, and that's why I am happy because um, this convention, this vote was supposed to have happened like 3 years ago, but we give God glory that it happened in 2026, and this will pave way for every of our agitation, which is uh, uh, low commission, increased fare. That is when you get a fare that dignifies the service we are rendering, which also protects our security and the security of the riders. And that is when we always shout that they should do facial recognition, they should profile the riders. And this convention has given us that opportunity to have that. And we will implore the government to, enforce this. Some of them, even with the ILO, some of them is still not, uh, and that is where regulation come in. And this has been an opportunity for that regulation we are talking about, so that everybody will be on the table, so that we can, this is the worth of this service. Let us earn the defined wage. At least at the end of the day, even as a platform worker in the government sector, we can be able to enjoy what other private and public sector enjoy in terms of pension, in terms of insurance, in terms of loan.
So, what impact could this convention have on discrimination and unfair treatment within digital platforms?
Yeah. Uh, there must be no discrimination here, gender equality. There must be no discrimination on gender. There must be no discrimination on religion, ethnicity, and other human activities. So this has given us opportunity to have gender equality. And also, it has given us opportunity not to have a religion divide, because that's most of the thing that they use, to divide us and ethnicity. Then every worker must be treated equally and fairly. Every worker must be treated equally and fairly. No discrimination, no gender inequality, and no religion or ethnicity or tribal. Yeah.
Okay. We would go on a short break now. We will be back shortly. Stay with us. Commendation of builders, traders, and retrievers. Not voice, peace, your ambition. Market fast. Deals closed.
Your field is
In a membership. Yes,
that's it.
We speak your language. This is trade.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for you, that's the song.
We appreciate your listenership as we continue to bring us the latest insights and stimulation. You're still listening to Trade FM's Breakfast Business Briefing, your trusted source for business intelligence, economic analysis, policy conversations, and real-time insights shaping industries, enterprises, and national development across Nigeria and beyond. And this is Ask the Expert, the segment where we bring you conversations with professionals, industry leaders, policymakers, and stakeholders, helping you understand the trends, opportunities, and challenges shaping the future of work and economic development. Today, we are discussing ILO approves new global standards for platform workers. And with me here is Comrade Jayesimi Aziz, popularly known as Machiavelli. He is the Lagos State Chairman of ALTUN, that is the Amalgamated Union of App-Based Transporters of Nigeria. And so, now, the convention calls for stronger protection against workplace accidents and health risks. What practical changes could workers expect?
Yeah, that's talking about occupation, safety, and hazard.
Yes.
And for us, we are road workers. We walk on the road because we move. And we believe this will bring safety and the 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 app we are using to work, they should be able to, aligning with this convention to make, though they said we have those things, they don't have it, like panic button when there are issue on the road, you can be able to, press something on your phone.
Oh, really? Drivers do not have that.
It's not working. They said they have, but we don't have it.
Because I know for we the customers, we the people that order the rides, we have a place where we record the audio, the conversations going on in the ride.
In fact, all those ones just put it on because of issue of robbery.
Yeah.
Like I said, these are companies are rider centric. They believe that where they are making the money, forgetting we are putting food on the table. So there has to be a panic button in case of when you pick a criminal rider, because you don't know who you are picking, but the person that requested you know who is coming, has your face, knows your cars, knows your plate number, but you don't. We have issue, it will be able to change that. That there must be on trip insurance. That is, if you are on their app, because what they normally calculate is most of them say they have it, they don't have it, they don't even gotten it. They just say it without word of mouth. We want the situation but anytime I put on the app, when you start the ride, but they have forgotten the time that you put on the app, still, driving from point A to go and pick whoever, request you. That's in fact, for the fact that you put on the app, throughout that day, you must be covered and you must be protected. And not just word of mouth, or they will now, turn it to a bonus that you must meet a particular tree before you now have. And even before the convention, the NHIA, as National Health Insurance Authority, has, based on the federal government directive, you know, giving a directive to make sure that all drivers, all riders, that is the dispatch riders, everybody using your app should be covered. It is a directive, is a law, and it has, it has to be covered. And at the same time, apart from that, you might be on the trip and your car develop fault. There should be, and like that panic was in an emergency situation, that if it's not something you can quickly fix, there can be a backup, vehicle to take, the rider from there. Or if there's this mechanic on the go that they are supposed to even, partner with, when issue happen, you just press we are using technology, press one or two, they know your location, and just pay your driver, just give me 5 minutes, and that thing is sorted. And also that will be a way of protecting the driver and also protecting the rider. And everybody will be happy at the end of the day.
Still on operational safety, right? Nigeria of today, we have a lot of insecurity going on. We just have a whole lot of security issues going on in the country. And this leads me to my next question, still on operational safety. Why is operational safety becoming an important issue in app-based work?
Thank you very much. And yeah, there is a convention, there is what I would call a right of refusal. For us, yeah. For example, now, I see a right in a location that I'm not familiar with, or I know there are criminal activity there. I have rights to refuse us. This app only compel us to go to where we don't even want to go because of the anxiety, or they're afraid that they will deactivate our account, which the ISO2 has even covered that too. The unjust deactivation of drivers, because it is this AI, the algorithm that majority of it that happen is the machine that do it, and there is not a right for human to go through whatever the machine or the AI or whatever algorithm they are using to make decision, for man to be able to check it. So because I did not pick a particular right, my rating dropped. And once your rating drops to a particular level, you might be yanked off the app. At times, when riders report you, just like forced to report, you don't even have opportunity to defend yourself. Majorly on in-drive. Before you know, they just throw you out. Anything happen, they don't want to hear your own story. Once the rider complain, they yank you off. You will have to, go to their office and scackle. They don't have regard for driver because they don't understand what we are doing. Maybe they understand, they just their eyes on the money they are making. You don't care about the money. You don't care about the livelihood of that driver that gets his vehicle probably a higher purchase, or probably get a loan to put the vehicle on road. But because of the technology, because of the app, you now felt one in control. And this is what the convention has helped, the ELM practitioner to deal with. So, now we all know you as a union leader. So my question for you is this: as a union leader, how would you assist in ensuring all ride-hailing apps adhere to the standards of the ILO? Yeah, definitely, definitely, they must. It is a must for them. Apart from the part that, we've dragged these people to the Lagos State House of Assembly, we have been to the Ministry of Transport. In fact, the last meeting we held with the government side is the one we held with Ministry of Establishment and Training, which is a part of the ministry that, like I said, I'm happy to cover everything for. Everything that, even we don't know the delay from side of assembly, I would say everything that they refuse to do, the International Labour Organization has done it. And it's not for the government to enforce. Also, we are not going to sit as a union leader, we are going to make sure that the convention is enforced. Even if we have to drag them to international courts, if we felt we cannot, get justice from them, and if we have to drag them back to the ILO, we understand the fact that majority of them are also there, and this is a grand win for all gig worker all over the globe, because the same thing they do it to us in Nigeria, they do it to everybody, all over the world. And they are, so, we are talking about the freedom of association. One person cannot fight this conglomerate. These people have, when we talk about fund, they have fund to do, and that's why even as a union leader, they are able to penetrate some of our members to use them to divide the union. They use them to make sure that the union is not united. And the union is united now. And even the driver themselves, they are now the ones standing up. They are now the ones standing up to, go out, shout, go to this upcoming, and to liberate themselves. Now there's a liberation movement that the drivers have started. And if you get to a stage, that's why we are telling the government, if you get to a stage, the union will not be able to control the driver. All of us know the situation of things in the country, and these drivers are bleeding. And the worst of them all is InDrive. Because InDrive is one of the apps that destroy the e-learning sector. Why? By giving opportunity for riders to put ridiculous price. So, and we've been telling these people, this is our business. We own our vehicle. We are the one that buy data. We are the one that face everything. You sit in your office and just be, the commission they take is too much. And that's why we've been shouting all this. And the convention has also covered that. But definitely, as a union leader, by the grace of God, at the level of the national, at the level of the state, with all my executive, we are going to enforce this. We make sure they comply, and they don't have rights.
Okay, so I remember last time you were on as the expert, you spoke about the payment of earnings on the app. So now my question is this, it's going to be a two-in-one question. So one major provision requires timely and full payment of earnings. Why is this important for platform workers? And also, should platform workers receive compensation for work-related expenses such as fuel, vehicle maintenance, internet, or equipment costs?
Thank you very much. Yes, the it is a must. You must be compensated for that, and that is why when we talk about the fear, everybody knows. Everybody that use those apps knows that their price are ridiculous. They know. In fact, some of them, when we pick some of them, they say, "How are you guys surviving?" And at times, out of their do that, they will pay more than, you know, we will buy from, we buy data. We will the one that will call, no compensation on all those ones. No, and even though anything that you want to put like compensation is not compensation, it is always attached to the trip, the more trip you do. It's not attached to performance. It is attached to the more money you bring. Now you bring that more money, you can't even get a loan. Imagine both calling for a roundtable meeting. In that roundtable meeting, they are using the driver data to sell a loan to them. You call a roundtable meeting after we have done shutdown. Instead of you addressing the issue, you bring everybody to a roundtable and you bring a finance or loan company to come and sell loan to them. The loan that you're even supposed to give them from the humongous commission you are collecting. So we have right to get compensation. We have right to get, for example, I was talking about when your car, break down the road, even with the rider, you're supposed to get compensation for that to encourage you to, at times, the guy that will just come down, book another, and go. That the one that lost. No, no dignity, no compensation, nobody to tell you, okay, you understand the car broke down, okay, let us give you this so loan to quickly fix it. Then the more you work, you get. And these are very important. We have to, because we are workers, we have to, enjoy what workers enjoy. Because without us, the economy is not moving. We move the economy 24/7.
Yes. So my final questions to you are this. What steps should Nigeria take if it decides to align with these new international standards? And also, are current labor laws sufficient to protect platform workers?
Yeah, like I said, it is very important for the government to back up the convention and enforce. We have been clamoring for regulation, and definitely for the fact that the convention has stipulated everything that we have been agitating for. It is now for Nigerian government to enforce, to work in hand with the ILO, because for the fact that Nigeria is part of, the International Labour Organization, and during this 114th session, that we have this landmark convention, which I call the right of the house-based workers. It's important for them to make sure that it is enforced in Nigeria. They need to, if they have to, call the forum where the stakeholder, the union, the house-based will come together, sit on the table, and make sure this is enforced. It will not only boost the morale of the driver or the gig worker. It is going to help the country as a whole, because an angry driver is a disaster waiting to explode. If I'm angry, I'm not happy with, why will I not be happy? If I get a wage that equals to the service I render, I'll be happy. If I work more than 10 hours and I pick you and I was sleeping on steering, as at this weekend, 3 of our members have a very fatal accident. One is on Tobelan Bridge, one is in Ajah, even with Lagos Ride. Why? Because they want to meet up. Imagine trying to get 450,000 naira to deliver to the Lagos Ride Pro on a weekly basis. How will they meet up? They will work their life out. That's why most of our members, they don't go home, they sleep in the car. If you see all those cars and you see people put pillow, they sleep in their car, probably they go on weekends. And these are things that this convention, if enforced, will change. And naturally, happy driver, happy passenger, and it will reduce accident we have on our roads.
Okay. Comrade Makaveli, thank you very much for joining us this morning and for sharing your insights.
Sorry, I forgot. Part of what the government needs to do, they need to domesticate the law. They need to ratify the convention and make it, a global standard, since they are member of the International Labour Organization.
Okay. Thank you, Comrade Makaveli, for joining us this morning and for sharing your insights.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I'll also be here anytime they want me to be here.
Thank you. Today's conversation highlights a reality that is becoming increasingly clear across the world. As technology continues to transform the way people work, labor protections must evolve alongside it. The growth of the digital economy has created new opportunities for millions of people, but has also raised important questions about fairness, dignity, accountability, social protection, and workers' rights. The International Labour Organization is adoption of this new global standard represents a significant step in shaping the future of platform work and economic growth do not come at the expense of decent work and human dignity. For Nigeria, where thousands of people now depend on ride-hailing platforms, delivery services, freelance marketplaces, and other digital platforms for their livelihoods, the conversation around regulation, workers' welfare, algorithmic transparency, and social security is one that will only become more important in the years ahead. If you're just joining us, you can catch highlights of this conversation on our social media platforms. We are Trade FM live across all platforms, so that's Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and our YouTube channel. Now we're returning to the newsroom for news on the hour.
In a nation of builders, trade arts and freedom will condition arms rise. Heels close. Politics each other emerge.